Healthy soils are the foundation of agriculture in Ontario as elsewhere. But the way we practice agriculture hasn't always been consistent with keeping soils in the healthy state that they need to produce consistent yields. Soil degradation is a real threat for anybody who loves to farm or eat. Thankfully, through decades of experimentation and research, farmers have developed a long list of best management practices that help to conserve and enhance the quality of the soil. By gaining a better understanding of the soils we work with, we can better understand what risks they face and what kind of practices we need to adopt to be able to adapt and protect those soils from those specific risk threats. We can improve agricultural productivity while also protecting the soil for generations to come. This video series will serve as a primer to help us do just that. So what do we mean when we talk about soil health? In general terms, a healthy soil is one that can support the plants and organisms that grow in it in a way that can be sustained. Soil also performs other important functions like purifying water and regulating carbon and nutrient cycles. Soil is a complex, living, and dynamic ecosystem that responds to what we do with it and the farming practices we adopt. To simplify things and to help us understand what we need to measure, we often break down soil health into its physical, chemical, and biological components. Soils with a good physical condition is one in which roots can grow easily and unimpeded to be able to gather the resources that they need. Soil biology is by far the most complex and poorly understood component. The key to good soil biology, though, is to manage the soil physical environment so that they have a place to live, and to manage organic carbon flows so that they're fed. Chemically, things depend a little bit more on what exactly we're trying to grow, but balanced pH and adequate nutrient levels are crucial. It's all in the management. Unfortunately, many historical and current crop management practices have led to degradation in Ontario soils. Excessive tillage, simplification of crop rotations, and the decrease in perennial forages and manure have led to declining organic matter levels and erosion by wind and water.
Some of the problems we encountered, there were little rivulets of water running down on the slopes. They would accumulate in the bottom of the slope, and there's multiple slopes feeding into the main valley, if you like, and that valley would have the water would accumulate and wash a large volume of soil down through and cut quite a deep trench.
In the province of Ontario, we've got lots of complex topography, and as a result of decades of cropping, we've got a legacy effect of both tillage and water erosion. But tillage erosion in particular can strip topsoil off of knolls or high slope positions and result in issues around low productivity, low available water, and also just poor nutrient availability.
This degradation also results in reduced water infiltration rates and increased risk of soil crusting. And combined with heavier equipment, it's meant that soil compaction is a growing problem across the landscape.
I think a lot of you already have a pretty good idea what crusting is and what crusting looks like. We can see that this soil here has got a bit of a crust going on, just a hard surface here that's really hard for the plants to break through.
When we're talking about soil compaction, what we're talking about is a reduction in the empty space between soil particles. So realistically, in an ideal soil, you'd want 50% empty space, and that space can either be filled up with water or with air, depending on what time it is during your growing season.
Given these challenges, it's important to assess the risks that are inherent to the soil landscape and system that you have and develop a plan for addressing them. Figure out which BMPs are best suited to the risk, soil, and operation that you have. Crop rotation is a key practice to maintaining and improving soil health. It provides a diversity in the type and timing of soil cover, as well as feeding a diversity of soil life.
We're talking about crop rotations today, and I know what the value of crop rotation is to the farm. We practice a crop rotation on this farm, quite a diverse crop rotation of corn, soybeans, and wheat, and we include cover crops as well when we can.
Cover crops provide a further boost to protecting the soil and the organisms that make it productive.
Cover crops can be a great tool for Ontario farms, but it's important to consider your goals when you're selecting those cover crops. And you need to consider where and how those cover crops are going to fit in your cropping system.
The best way to increase organic matter levels is to add it. Organic amendments come in many forms and provide a real return on investment.
Organic amendments supply nutrients and carbon that support healthy soils, but there are challenges in handling and applying manure and organics that can lead to compaction or can lead to loss of nutrients to the environment.
No-till, strip-till, and other forms of minimum tillage help to keep the soil covered by residue, reducing the risk of erosion and crusting, and improving the soil's physical condition over time. Because there's no tillage and no disturbance, the soil stays in place, the residue stays in place, and everything is working the way that soils naturally do. In some soil landscapes, keeping it covered just isn't enough, and erosion control structures are necessary to protect the soil from erosion. In situations where significant erosion has occurred within the field, replacing and remediating that soil is a good option.
So we're going to be talking about soil remediation, which really is just the practice of taking topsoil from low slope positions where it has accumulated over the decades and moving it up to high slope positions or eroded knolls, thereby restoring the productivity, restoring the topsoil to those parts of the field and raising the bar on productivity.
When the right combination of best management practices for a farm is implemented, they come together to form a system that creates healthy and productive soil. Healthy soils are more resilient and continue to function when conditions get either too wet or too dry, too hot or too cold. They're better able to cycle nutrients and carbon and to support a thriving diversity of soil life. All of these things together produce higher and more consistent crop yields year after year. Take a look at the videos in this series and learn how to better understand what's happening in your soils and how to manage them for health and productivity.